You've no doubt heard that using Power Automate can help you automate your business. The same with Logic Apps, which is basically the sister application to Power Automate out in Azure. Microsoft Power Automate is part of the Office 365 suite, the Microsoft 365 suite. So if you are a Microsoft 365 shop, no doubt you've seen that Power Automate icon in your apps and you maybe didn't know what it does. Let's actually create a Power Automate app today. Let's call it Hello World. Let's get started. Now, when you log into Power Automate, you see a lot of options on your screen. We're gonna parse out all of this extra stuff here and we're gonna focus on three primary triggers. One is an automated cloud flow. That is, you want to trigger this by some exterior action that is going to make your flow fire. We're just going to call it a flow here going forth. So to make this flow fire, something external needs to happen. Now that could be an email received in an inbox. It could be a webhook. If you don't know what a webhook is, don't worry about it. It could be adding an item to a SharePoint list. It could be moving a file. There's a lot of different options for automated cloud flows. The next one is an instant cloud flow. That would be something that you want to manually run. You could tie this to an app button in Power Apps, but you can also just open up a flow and you can tell it to run manually. You can run it whenever you want manually. A scheduled cloud flow is exactly that. It's like it's got a clock on it. Every 5 minutes you want something to happen, or every hour you want something to happen. That is a scheduled cloud flow. You could be a very good thing to know about scheduled cloud flows is that you can set them up to be once a week, multiple days a week. So you can use Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. You want some action to trigger, you can do that. You can also schedule it to start in the future. So if there's some future event that you want something to trigger and happen, then you can do that as well. We are going to use this instant cloud flow right here. And let's call our flow Hello World. And I'm going to choose manual. Manually trigger the flow. Now right here I can choose skip, and that will skip any automatic creation. And I would say for the most part, 99% of the time I just hit skip. And when you hit skip, it actually says it's untitled up here. So I'm going to say Hello World. And my trigger, now I'm going to select a trigger. Now remember, we're just keying in on those three things, either an automated flow, a manual flow, or a scheduled flow. I want it to be a manual trigger, and I can do that. Right here, manually trigger a flow. Boom, done. So now I have my manual trigger right here. And what do I want to happen? Well, there's a few things that we can do here, but one, let's say we want our Hello World to actually send us an email. So let's add an action. Email. I'm going to choose send an email, V2. This means version 2. You don't have to be too concerned with this. You can also send an email with options, but let's just do send an email. This is the most straightforward way to send an email. So here I have my action, and this is my trigger, manual trigger to my action now. You see it automatically tied an arrow between these two. And when this is selected, you're going to see the options pop up on the left of the screen. So there's even setting actions that you can change on the manual trigger. We're not going to bother with that. We're just going to go here to send an email, and I'm going to send it to myself at itpath.net. And I'm going to specify a subject line here, and let's call it, let's say, Hello World. I don't know why that is popping up. There we go. Greetings to the world. Put that in the body. Okay. There's advanced options you can choose here. You can blind carbon copy, you can carbon copy, you can send as, different things that you can choose here. I'm not going to choose any of that. I'm just going to hit save. And I'm green. And now I'm going to hit test. Boom. Manually, test, and continue, and run flow. And then just like that. And let me pull this up so you can see it. There we go. I've got my email. Hello world, greetings to the world. Okay, well that's cool. What else can we do with this? Let's also, since we're having some fun here with this thing. Whoa, I zoomed way in. I don't know how I did that. Didn't mean to do that. Let's do that right there. So let's now go back to editor. This, by the way, is now showing me what ran during my test. Okay, so that's why the screen changed a little bit. That's why I don't see any other details here, anything I can change, is because I'm looking at an actual run. And if I hit back here, or no, let's go back. And I can see, oh, it ran once, it took 3 seconds. All right. And then we click on that and we're looking at exactly the screen we were just on. So let me go back and hit edit. Now let's change it up a little bit. Let's say I want to send an email with an option. Let's try and use something a little bit different in our hello world example. So we're going to delete. I right-clicked and deleted. That's how you right-click, delete. That's how you delete stuff. I'm going to hit the add again, add an action. Let's type in email again. Email with options. And let's say to Dana@itpath.net. And let's say down here, I've got these, your input is required. Let's just say, hello world, please select your choice. I love Power Automate, comma, I hate Power Automate. Okay. So now we're going to send an email with that as the option. Okay. Save. Now, just sending this email is going to, well, we can test it. Test, manual, test, continue, run. And it's going to pop up in my email. Should pop up with my options. I sent it from the wrong email account, but it does say I love Power Automate or I hate Power Automate. So those options are there. That's why I've got this not set to this account. I've got too many accounts, too many emails, too little time. So I have that send email with options, but it's actually not doing anything else other than sending me, I love Power Automate or I hate Power Automate. Well, that's not what I want to do. So let's actually perform some action after this, because it's not good enough just to receive that with a button. You want that button to do something for you. So let's do that. Let's make a condition. All right. And here, I've got my two options. I love Power Automate. I'm just going to copy that text here for a second. Let's go to my condition, and let's say my condition, and I'm going to choose function here. And when I choose function, I can now go to dynamic content. And I can say, what's the user's response? How did the user respond? So I said, okay, let's do that. And I'm going to add that. Now what it did was it added this piece of code here, this function, added this automatically for me. Okay. So what did the user select? And I'm going to say, I love Power Automate. Okay. So if it's anything but I love Power Automate, then it's going to be false. But if they select I love Power Automate, it should be true. But I don't have any actions here, right? So let's do this. Let's make an action. And let's say add. And let's say email. Send an email v2. And what we want to do is we want to use the let's go to advanced mode here. See if that gives me, go to function. I got to go to advanced mode here. See that it didn't show up that I want to use function here. And the reason is I want to use the email address from this. From wherever I send this, I want to use the same email address of the response. So let's use the email address there. So we're going to send that person a message, and that message is going to say, awesome. Hello world to you. I'm so glad you love Power Automate. I do too. Okay, so that's what we're going to send. Save. And now if false, let's also send an email. Oh, let's choose email. Send an email v2. And let's do false. Let's say also we're going to use switch to advanced mode. We're going to do a function. We're going to find the dynamic content, and we're going to use the email address again from that previous option. And we're going to say, that's too bad. I'm so sorry to hear that you hate Power Automate. It sounds like you need a hug. There we go. Or some training. Really. Sounds like you need some training. Let's put that in there. Save. All right. And we're turned green, which means that's good. Everything's tested in our flow. Sounds awesome. So now let's say test. And let's say manual. Again, test. And continue. I still didn't change that email address, but that's okay. For our intents and purposes, this will work fine. All right. So now we're watching our flow run right here. And it has already sent me the email. And it says, hello world, please select your choice. If you can see that. And now I'm going to say, I love Power Automate. So I'm just going to tap, I love Power Automate. Okay, I got an error. I wonder why I got an error. It says action failed. No independent. So this failed. Why did this fail? Email message 2 says it was null. Well, that's interesting. Let's go edit. I bet there's something wrong with the way I put that in there. So let's edit. Let's handle this a different way. Right here, see how I set that manually? Let's introduce a new concept here. Let's add a variable. And let's call it email. Email address. Let's call it a string. And let's put my email address in here. dana@itpath.net. Okay. And down here in the email options, I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to use switch to advanced mode, functions, dynamic content, email address. That's the variable. And you know what? I'm going to fix this at the same time. Oh, that already is set to day not live the run. Let's change this one at the same time. Let's do that. Let's do this. Everything's showing up on a different on a different email, but that's fine. I'm just fixing that. If your email account exists in Office 365, or you're using the email account that you logged in with, you're probably not going to see all those options like I was seeing them. So we've got the variable down here. We're using the variable here in the to box, and down here let's do the same thing. Function, dynamic, email address under variables, add, and then here let's do function, dynamic, email address, add, and save. And here we go. Let's try this again. Test, manual, test, and run flow, and done. And it sent me an email. And you see the options down there at the bottom. I'm going to say, I love Power Automate. Thank you for your response. It says, and boom, it says it sent me another email. Let's actually go see. Awesome. Hello world to you. I've got that email now, my email. So let's try and run it again. And this time, let's say that we hate Power Automate, which I do not. So I am absolutely lying here. Let's do that. Test and run and done. Now you'll notice like all of these are spinning, right? They're saying I'm waiting on something, I'm doing something here, I'm doing something, I'm waiting. And you might be wondering, how long will this actually wait? And I'm going to came up again. I'm going to select I hate Power Automate, and we should see the failed response kick here in a second. Boom, there we go. And let's just verify that we got the response again. And there it is. That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that you hate Power Automate. It sounds like you need some training. Perfect. Everything is working in this flow. So how long does this work? If you crafted an approval response to somebody with an email and you wanted to say, do you approve to do this? Do you not want to do this? Whatever, some sort of action, some sort of call to action. Maybe it's take me off an email list, or maybe it's I want more information, and you're going to follow up with an email that's got attachments in it, because you can actually do attachments here too, by the way. If I'm going to edit. So let's say you wanted to use this for a delivery mechanism for maybe it's a lead magnet. You can add attachments here as well. There's some extra steps involved here. Actually, you can actually do it right here. Attachment name, attachment content. But there's some extra steps because you want those files, all of that data to exist out in SharePoint somewhere so you can reference it. But anyway, you can do that. It's an option. But you might be wondering, how long will this hang out here and just kind of wait for a response? And you might be surprised to know it'll wait up to 30 days. 30 days. You got 30 days to let that guy sit and wait on a response. I've used flows like this that have been sent to people. It says, hey, do you want to set up something automatically for free? And they tap yes, and then it would send me a ticket to my ticket board. So this is just a basic hello world to get you started. I hope that it kind of maybe breaks the ice for you to start using Power Automate. It's a great tool. It's a great automation tool. I love it. Far superior in my mind to Zapier and Make and so many others that are out there, because of the way that you can branch things, that we can nest stuff into loops. I just find it much more intuitive to work with for me that way. And let me know in the comments what I can teach you. I want to give you. So ask me. You want to learn something new about Power Automate? Fire away. I'm all ears. All right. See ya.